Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline at PixieDustPhD. I am filming this on Sunday, May 12th, 2024. This is the month 51 creator update. As per usual, we'll do a brief overview of some theme park news, as well as stats, analytics, and revenue for this past month, as well as lifetime for the channel. Last month I asked you all to let me know how you are feeling about Epic Universe and sort of where your level of caring is. For the most part, people fell within the intrigued but not really following to fairly interested, but no one's like ready to go rope drop it the day it opens. I'm definitely way more on the super interested end, obviously, but I am not planning to go right away. I do think crowds are going to be pretty bad for a while, but such is theme park life. But given that overall folks are at least somewhat interested in it, I will continue just to highlight it a little bit, probably in these monthly creator updates. Again, not pivoting the channel, so don't worry about that. With that being said, since we last touched base, Universal did release the fly-through video of Super Nintendo World coming to Epic Universe. There's a Mario Kart ride, there's a Yoshi ride, there is a Donkey Kong minecart ride. We're gonna get the Toadstool Cafe, there will be meet and greets, of course there will be merch, there'll be the power-up bands, which are like interactive magic bands, so you can play games with them throughout the land. I think it's kind of like the Bounty Hunter game in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Honestly, I've not done that. Obviously, I've not done the Super Nintendo World power-up bands, but it looks super cute, it looks so fun. If you're interested in Super Nintendo World coming to Epic Universe, I'll leave a couple relevant links in the description below. I grew up playing N64 and GameCube, so I am pretty much the target audience for this. I can't wait. That being said, I'm probably the least excited about this new land in principle, just because we do have aspects of it already at Universal in Japan, as well as out in California. So the overall land is not brand new. For example, the Mario Kart ride already exists. I don't know if it's an exact carbon copy or if there are differences. And I'm sure the Florida version will have some things that the other lands don't, etc. But the point is, I guess I'm not as excited for it just because I've seen some other content from the other versions already, so I know already how cute and immersive and perfect it's gonna be. Versus the other lands coming to Epic Universe are more original, and so it's kind of who knows what it'll end up being until they show you the fly-through, whereas for Super Nintendo World, you already had a pretty good idea of what this fly-through would be. But honestly, I still think it's so well done, and I can't wait to go and hang out. Like I said, I am the target audience for this. And aside from Epic Universe, Universal Orlando Resort did drop a little bit of other, perhaps relevant news to you. We've got a slew of new things debuting this summer. DreamWorks Land is opening on June 14th. And there's going to be a new projection show on Hogwarts Castle, as well as a new nighttime spectacular also debuting June 14th. Then a couple weeks later, on July 3rd, we'll get the debut of the Mega Movie Parade. So if you have plans to head down to Universal before Epic Universe opens, and, this summer, there'll be some new offerings for you to experience. Out in Tokyo Disney Sea, we've gotten a lot more glimpses of the new Fantasy Springs land. As a brief reminder, there is a Frozen section, a Tangled section, and a Peter Pan section, all with attractions. Personally, I'm maintaining the delusion in my head that I will get out there sometime soon, and I prefer to be more spoiler-free, so I have basically been scrolling past these when I see them pop up. So I've seen a little bit, but I haven't seen too much, so I can't comment. But the animatronics look amazing from the little tiny bits I've seen. So if you don't care to be spoiler-free, definitely Google it. Both for the Frozen ride and the Tangled ride, I think there have been previews of animatronics and just really amazing effects for those attractions. I haven't really seen much about Peter Pan yet. But yeah, if you're interested, take a Google. I can't really tell you anything more because I'm trying to avoid it. In Disneyland California, we saw the return of 2 guided tours on May 11th. This is the Cultivating the Magic and the Disneyland Railroad tours. These are an extra charge, but if you're off to Disneyland and want some extra magic, go ahead and take a look at those. It's also been halfway to Halloween recently, so we learned that Disney's Oogie Boogie Bash is returning. There will be 27 event nights between August 25th and October 31st. In more procedural news, but perhaps still exciting to you, Disneyland Hotel is reportedly going to get its own security checkpoint. I believe right now, if you're staying at Disneyland Hotel, the security checkpoint you are most likely to use is going to be the same one that funnels all of the guests into downtown Disney. So despite paying that exorbitant price to be an on-site resort guest, I don't think Disneyland Hotel folks have their own security checkpoint. And reportedly, this is going to change, which I think is a huge boost for Disneyland Hotel guests. I will leave a link in the description below if you're interested in reading more. I'm guessing this will take a few months to operationalize, so if you're headed down soon, you probably still won't have your own security checkpoint, but something to look forward to for the future. And finally, in Disneyland news, the Anaheim City Council did formally vote to approve the Disneyland Forward project. For those of you who don't recall, Disneyland Forward is a proposed huge expansion of Disneyland Resort. Having City Council approval is necessary and great, but I would say it's, step 1, step 0.5 maybe. I expressed this in a different recent monthly creator update, but for me, I try not to get too excited about things until permits are filed and maybe even shovels are in the ground. So it's great that they have approvals, but I think we still have a really long way to go before we see anything too meaningful. For Walt Disney World news, just like with Oogie Boogie Bash, again, it was halfway to Halloween, so we heard about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Party dates run on select nights from August 9th through October 31st. Tickets start at $119 and max out at $199. You are going to pay tax on top of that. Eligible Disney Vacation Club members and Walt Disney World annual pass holders can get a $10 discount on dates in August and September. We also just learned that Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is the redo of Splash Mountain, is set to open in Walt Disney World in Magic Kingdom on June 28th. To my knowledge, we have no news about an opening date for this attraction over at Disneyland Resort yet. And as of when I'm filming this, I have not heard anything about cast member previews, annual pass holder previews, DVC member previews, etc. So June 28th is the official open. We can probably expect previews to happen before that. There might even be a soft opening before that. Stay tuned to the internet to find out. And for Disney Vacation Club news, but staying in the Walt Disney World Resort area, we did hear a little bit about Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge. If you've been paying attention to Disney Vacation Club for a while, you may recall that this resort concept was debuted, I believe, back in 2018 and was supposed to open in 2022 or so. But of course, we entered the global pandemic in 2020, so things pretty much halted with Reflections. Recently, Disney filed with the South Florida Water Management District to extend its construction permit. If this extension request was approved, it would run through May of 2029. Sometime during pandemic in the past handful of years, Disney sort of quietly wiped away any mention of Reflections from their official website, and it was pretty much dead. I've always kind of just been of the opinion that it's just been on a hard pause. It's on the back burner. They've got permits. They have a really well fleshed out concept so far as I can tell. They've obviously put a lot of time and thought into this. And so now things are rebounding, and it's looking like they at least want to give themselves a 5-year cushion to go ahead and take construction back up on this project. We'll have to wait and see if it actually happens, but I do think that this is a sign pointing to, yeah, Reflections has just been on the back burner, but it's always still been part of the longer term plans. I believe also the physical plot of land that Reflections would sit on is not that far from Cabins at Fort Wilderness. I'm not 100% sure, so if you have better spatial awareness and understanding of the Walt Disney World Resort than I do, leave a comment down below. But if proximity-wise they actually aren't too far apart, it'd be interesting to see in the future if perhaps the Cabins at Fort Wilderness and Reflections get packages like sister resorts. The cabins are very neat, but it's also really narrow, right? It's 1-bedroom cabins, standalone, there's no other options, there's no in-unit laundry, you're at a moderate resort, so the amenities are maybe not as lush or luxurious as some folks would want. If it's not actually that far from Reflections, and Reflections ends up having a more usual spread of different room types, high-class amenities, etc., maybe that's a way that you get people to look at that as one big thing together that would service all of your needs. I don't know, I'm just spitballing, I know nothing, who knows? And of course, we recently got the news introducing Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. I made an entire separate video on that covering what we know, what we probably know, but it's not like 100% confirmed, and what we still don't know. If you're interested to hear more, I will leave a link to that video in the description below. And I'll try not to repeat myself in this video compared to that video, but I will say that I am really surprised that there's no 3-bedroom Grand Villas. I really wonder what the constraints were that made them think, yeah, we can't do that or we shouldn't do that for some reason. Because effectively now the DVC portion of the Polynesian is going to have 3 different types of 2-bedrooms, right? I think there will be the bungalows, the normal 2 bedrooms in the tower, and then these penthouse 2 bedrooms in the tower. And I had made up a scenario in my mind where maybe these penthouse 2-bedroom villas could sleep more than a standard 2-bedroom, but not quite enough to call it a Grand Villa 3-bedroom, like maybe they slept 10 or 11. But the Disney Parks blog post pretty clearly says that the room types in the tower will sleep 2 to 9, which very much makes me think that the penthouse villas will sleep 9. Maybe the standard 2 bedrooms in the tower only sleep 8 instead of 9, but presumably it's going to be a ton more points to book that penthouse villa 2-bedroom than the normal 2-bedroom, although probably not as many points as a bungalow, I guess, if we're playing the comparison game, but like, what is the use case scenario for the penthouse 2-bedroom villa that a normal 2-bedroom villa doesn't fill? But you know, I don't know. We really don't know much of anything about the rooms, so I'm trying not to get too caught up in these weird details when I'm sure, like, time will tell us what the use case is. And so related to the Island Tower announcement and then the recent Disability Access Service updates that we are anticipating to get, the channel and my email related to the channel, and to some extent like direct messages on social media, have received an uptick of quite unpleasant interactions. I'm pretty confident none of you watching this video are the problem, but part of why I do these monthly creator updates is to like pull back the curtain on what it's like to be a small YouTube creator, and this is definitely part of it. I think it's perfectly fine and normal and to be expected that we will have differing opinions. And that's great. That's what makes interacting with people fun. There's plenty of people on this channel that I have great rapport with. I think are fabulous, well-reasoned, thoughtful people that they view things differently than I do. And that's okay. And we can communicate that in an adult, mature way. But when some of these spicier topics get announced and I cover them on the channel, a lot of people come out of left field, and I don't know if they've watched my content before, or I don't know if it just got promoted to them in the algorithm and so they're a new viewer, but they come in really hot. And I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Like if I'm reading a comment or an email or direct message, I always actively choose to read it in a neutral to positive tone, at least for the first thing that comes through. And if I have a hunch, maybe it's not the nicest first thing, I tend to respond and usually try to clarify, and then it goes downhill from there. And I know a lot of you in the past have been like, why do you even respond? You could just let these things die. And I do let some of them die. At the same time, like I'm a pretty self-assured person and I like to do things that I feel like are right. Even if sometimes that comes at personal expense to me, I guess. It's a little bit hard to explain, but part of it's like my moral center. And so it's not really just about social media, it's about who I am as a person. And if I see something and I think if I intervene, it could go better for me or for someone else down the line, I'm usually going to choose to intervene. So for content creation, for example, there are a lot of people that seem to think that just because it's on the internet, they are a relatively anonymous face, they can just be jerks. And I have enough security in who I am as a person and the community on the channel and my friend group, etc., where like I feel pretty comfortable calling people out for what I think is their unacceptable behavior. And I really hope that helps them understand how to move forward in the future and not treat other content creators the same way. And I'm sure I've said versions of this on the channel before, but if you're getting this worked up about issues in the context of the world that are pretty small, we're talking about like the theming of a lobby of a theme park hotel. Like in the big scheme of things, that does not matter. If you have so much energy around an issue like that, I highly encourage you to put that energy towards something useful. There's a lot going on in this world where your efforts, your passion, your voice really could change the trajectory of things and make the world a better place. So I'm not saying don't have opinions about theme parks. Obviously, it's great to have hobbies, and sometimes those hobbies are not all that important on a worldwide scale. Awesome. We all need outlets and we all need to find joy. But if these things aren't bringing you joy and you just find yourself getting really worked up, well, one, you don't have to engage in that, and two, you can put that energy into something way more productive. Personally, if you don't like the new Polynesian Tower, I think that's totally cool. That's totally fine. You are super entitled to your own opinion. But if you don't like it so much that you are bullying other people who do like it, that's where I draw a line. I think that's useless. I think it's a bad use of your time and energy. And I've had people try to directly counter that, letting me know that they need to make sure the Disney executives hear them so they'll make changes. And with regard to the Poly Tower, for example, one, we haven't seen it yet. It doesn't really exist yet. It's all just artist rendering, so it might morph a little bit anyway. But two, they're not going to completely scrap everything they've already commissioned and start over because you guys are complaining on the internet. I don't think hardly anyone doing this level of complaining has a direct line to Disney executives. I think that's actually a really laughable statement. If you want to make your displeasure known in general to influence projects moving forward, I understand that. But that's not complaining on the internet, that's not sending me emails, that's not leaving rude comments to other people. That is writing Disney Vacation Club, that is maybe calling Disney Vacation Club, but if you are speaking to a frontline cast member, be very kind to them. Know that they have zero influence over these top-level decisions. And, start that conversation off with, I know you can't change any of this, but I would appreciate it if you would take down my comments to pass along. That's the most that they can do. So frankly, I think you're probably best off writing a letter or an email. But yeah, general complaints out into the internet. I maintain if you are that worked up, you have energy to put into issues that probably matter more. All this to say, it's been a little bit of a tough month for me as a creator in terms of the amount of external ridiculous inputs getting thrown to me. And I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I want to maintain that attitude, but months like this do make me want to give up on that and just I have had to hide a few users from the channel this month. I try not to hide users, but at the same time, my page is not a democracy. You can't just spew whatever you want, and too bad. If you want to be the loudest voice in the room, nothing is stopping you from being a content creator yourself. On the flip side, when I do have especially tough months like this past one, it does make me even more grateful and humbled for the 99% of you who do interact with me through the channel, via email, via social media, whatever, that are just lovely people and get it. I'm trying to do something very specific with my channel, which is a lot of fact-based reporting and being very clear when we're speculating, being very clear when I'm offering my opinion versus what we actually do know, what we can infer, what's been implied, and what we don't know. And multiple times this past month, I've had people really attack that part of not really even just my channel, like me and my character as a person. And like I said, I have a healthy enough ego to take it, but it is so disappointing to like have people inflame me for having clickbait when, you know, I look at my channel compared to a lot of other Disney-based channels, and I do my best to minimize the clickbait. I'm not saying I'm perfect and I know things could improve. I fully accept genuine constructive criticism. That's helpful. That is not the kind of words that have been thrown at me the past month. But like I said, that does make me very grateful for all of you. I think you guys understand where I'm coming from, and it's so validating to have that be heard and understood and appreciated. And for anyone else with a small channel or someone thinking about becoming a content creator, there are people in the fringes who will try to get you down and just do whatever it is that makes most sense to you. That might be ignore them. That might be kind of rise to the occasion and fight back if you're me. But, you know, I appreciate you. I see what you're doing. Don't let the haters get you down. All right, with the rant portion of this monthly creator update over, let's move on to stats and analytics. We'll begin with month 51. I pulled these from April 11th through May 10th. This past month, I posted 6 proper videos. The Leaky Cauldron video did get posted right before the monthly cutoff, so technically in the last monthly period, but it would have racked up most of its views during this month. Then we had the Disability Access Service update video, as well as the month 50 creator update. I posted my lunch experience at the Minions Cafe at Universal, as well as a point of view of the High in the Sky Seuss Trolley train ride. And then we looked specifically at Cabins at Fort Wilderness availability, as well as 7-month availability for Disney Vacation Club overall, looking at early December. I only posted 1 short this past monthly period, so the top content are all proper videos. And unsurprisingly, as with most months on the channel, we are seeing the Disney Vacation Club content dominate. Of this top content, only 3 of these were posted during the past monthly period. The top 2 videos, so the 7-month availability looking at early December, as well as the updated Disability Access Service video. Then the Cabins at Fort Wilderness availability video also snuck in here. And while I'm absolutely grateful for all of these views, I will say that I am a little bit surprised that the Disability Access Service video didn't reach a bigger audience. I actually think these updates are pretty important, and while there's still a lot we don't know, there is quite a bit we do know, so I just really hope that the people who need this program, who use this program, and are used to the current program, are finding this out somehow. Even if it's not my channel, I just really want them to have the information they need to make their vacations as stress-free as possible. Overall, in the last monthly period, we got about 7,100 views coming from about 4,800 unique viewers. 888 of those viewers were returning. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I really appreciate your interactions, and like I said in the earlier rant, I really think the community that we have cultivated together is pretty outstanding overall. Every time you like a video, when you subscribe to the channel, when you turn on notifications, when you comment down below, all of those things really help me out. And thank you again so much to Judy, who is a monthly subscriber over on my Ko-fi. While I absolutely appreciate all of you, having a Ko-fi monthly subscriber really just hits different. It's a different level of humbling. In this past monthly period, we got 566 watch hours, and we got over 100,000 impressions. 50.9% of those impressions were coming from YouTube. And all of this culminated in 34 new subscribers. For lifetime analytics, we're now at over 310,000 views and over 20,000 watch hours. The channel now has 3.23 million impressions, with 38.8% of those coming from YouTube. And overall, the channel is at 1,698 subscribers. Doing some reflection and a little bit comparison, this last month, month 51, compared to month 50 was like pretty much a wash. Comparatively, there were fewer month 51 views than in month 50, but not by a ton. And similarly, watch hours were up by a bit, but not by a ton. I will say it's nice to have impressions be in a 6-figure range again, so that's cool. And actually, the impressions from YouTube stat went up about 10% month over month, so that's huge. I'm really happy about that one. In month 50, we got 33 new subscribers. Month 51, we got 34, so of course I'll always take an improvement, but that's what I mean when I say these months were pretty much a wash. They felt really similar. But lifetime, we're now over 20,000 watch hours, which is a pretty cool milestone to hit. And lifetime impressions from YouTube actually went up 0.5%. The past 3 months, I believe it had been at 38.3%, so to see this jump, even if it's only 0.5%, feels really good. And we're super close to 1,700 subscribers. Actually, on the day I'm recording this, May 12th, in live time, we have passed that number, but for stats through just this monthly period through the 10th, we were too shy. But the cutoff being the 10th is a little bit arbitrary. I mean, all of these are a little bit arbitrary, so, you know, right now in live time, we're past 1,700. Woo! And I'll report that officially next month. For month 51 revenue, it was estimated that I made about $61. That's about $24 for every 1,000 ad views, or about $8.50 for every 1,000 views overall. And lifetime, we're now just shy of $900 earned. That's a little under $19 for every 1,000 ad views and a little under $3 for every 1,000 views overall. And looking at the past 6 months, even though my stats maybe have not been the strongest, revenue is definitely doing well. We were above $60 a month in January, February, and March, and above $56 in April, so almost $60. Generally, prior to 2024, I would say an average month was like $25 to $35, so this has been doing way better than usual. And recently, I had someone email me and ask me why my earnings per 1,000 views in the lifetime stat was so low. And I actually don't understand a ton about these stats, so what I'm about to say is a total guess. It's speculation based on my nascent understanding, but here's what I'm thinking. I've had the channel now for more than 4 years, but I've only been monetized since I think October of 2022. So a lot of the views on the channel came before monetization, and I'm assuming those get wrapped up into this stat. So for example, the monthly earnings per 1,000 views is usually like $8 or something, versus lifetime we're still sitting in the $2 to $3 range. But you can see over time, for the most part, that the stat lifetime is increasing. So the longer I'm monetized, the more views I'm getting that are currently monetized. It's starting to sort of compensate for all the views I had for that long time when I wasn't monetized. That's my guess. But I thought this chart was interesting, and I thought it was an interesting question, so I just figured I'd share. If any content creators have their own answer they want to share, or you want to correct my understanding, leave a comment down below. For the next monthly period, it'll be a lot of vlog content from the October 2023 trip, though I did just post the Island Tower at PVV introductory video too. I am not anticipating posting other DVC content this month simply because I'm a little strapped for time. I have a huge work event I'm hosting, so wish me luck, and I am going to disappear for a little bit during this monthly period. So if I go fully silent, that's why I'm just on vacation. If there is big Disney Vacation Club news I want to share with you all, and I am able to find Wi-Fi, then check out my Twitter as well as my Ko-fi. There's about a 0% chance I'll be able to make a video while I am so slammed with my work event and then, gone on vacation. But as of today, I am very close to being at a place where even though I'll be gone, stuff will still be getting posted to the channel, so I don't think you should see any interruptions. I hope your May has been kind to you. I'm definitely looking forward to my vacation. It is very, very much needed. If you've got a team in the NHL playoffs, let me know in a comment down below. Remember, I'm filming this on May 12th, so by the time you see this, probably on May 18th, things will have happened. But for now, I'm rooting for the Hurricanes or whoever wins the Stars Avalanche series, I think. Sending you good vibes, and may the rest of your day be magical. We'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.